I'm here on Humberston Beach, and behind me, about a mile from the shore, is Hale Sand Fort, one of two sea forts that were built in the Humber estuary to defend the ports of Hull and Grimsby from attack during the First World War. They weren't actually finished until 1919, by which time the war was over, which was mainly due to the tricky nature of the flats that they were built on, and changing tides making the construction of the forts notoriously difficult. It's estimated that over 40,000 tons of concrete was used to build each fort, and with each fort costing over £1 million to build, they were regarded as an outstanding triumph of modern engineering. The forts were restored and modernised, and they were back in use by World War II. Being the smaller of the two forts, Hale Sand had the smaller selection of artillery, originally being armed with two 4-inch guns, but was then upgraded to match its sister fort's selection of 6-inch guns in the Second World War in order to defend itself from attacks from the Luftwaffe and enemy ships that tried to pass through. A net was also hung between the two forts to prevent underwater attacks from submarines. Both forts remained in use until the military left them in 1956. Multiple ideas were put forward after they were abandoned. Most notably was a suggestion to make Bull Sand Fort into a duty-free drinking resort, as it exceeds the now outdated 3-mile limit of territorial water. They were guarded by civilians in the early 60s, and they were later bought by the Humber Conservancy Board, who left Hale Sand as it was and turned Bull Sand into a navigational aid for ships by installing a bell at the top and a tide gauge that tells ships whether or not they have the clearance to travel up the river safely. It then became a Grade 2 listed building in 1987, and Bull Sand was bought by the Streetwise Charitable Trust in 1997 in an attempt to convert it into a drug rehabilitation centre, but progress has been slow due to a lack of funding and hasn't since been completed. Hale Sand, however, went into private ownership and has stayed dormant ever since. It was listed for sale earlier this year as a renovation opportunity, and for a cool £350,000, it could be yours. Although it's probably a good idea to get a boat first.